Some soothing music, my man. Just soothing stuff. Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 with the promo code Welcome to Light Years. Andy Lou, how you doing?
Life is amazing. Life is absolutely amazing. Doesn't get any better. Happy New Year, brother.
Little house for the Warriors-Raptors game. It is the Persian New Year. Happy Nowruz to all my fellow Persians. Nowruz Mubarak to everyone. I'm going to enjoy myself tonight and not be on live stream half asleep and full of incredibly heavy Persian food and probably some wine.
Is Persian food heavy?
But
is Persian food like considered heavy, like Chinese food, or is it okay? Yeah,
all Middle Eastern food is heavy. It's like, hey, would you like a pound of rice and 2 pounds of meat in one serving? I'm not saying I love. Oh yeah, and like a side of yogurt. Like I'm not saying it's not delicious. I think it's the best food on earth. Like shocker, but I would never eat it with the anticipation of moving fast afterwards. You know what I'm saying? It's not a pregame meal. If Steph and Draymond and Jimmy are having some chili kebab pre-game, I will definitely pick them to lose.
Jimmy might have some Persian dessert first, though. I'll tell you. We'll get to that. But, some cuisines are healthy. You know, I feel like Japanese food, it's not going to weigh you down. But good to hear, man. Like Persian food heavy, Chinese food heavy. That's my shit. You know, don't give me some bullshit. You know, I don't need some healthy shit. Give me the real. Give me the meat. Yeah, give me the goods.
Look, it's not like I can't make a healthy meal. It's just that if I have a traditional meal, it will be 10 pounds of food and it will not be a pregame meal. That's all I'm going to say, you know? But, you know, with that said, amazing. And sometimes you got to live life. Sometimes you got to live life. Definitely not getting my DEXA scan right after I eat that. I'll tell you that. Yeah, man. So our guy, Jake Fischer, came out with an article about Dunleavy's pursuit and Jimmy Butler coming to the Warriors. I thought it was interesting because we haven't really got a lot of insight into that relationship. Like we know they were teammates on the Bulls, and it's kind of funny when your GM's teammates with a guy that he trades for. But in general, Dunleavy doesn't talk a lot. And in reading it, it sounds like this trade does not happen without Dunleavy being the driving force behind it.
Yep. Well, first off, I thought it was interesting that Jake Fischer got the story. Friend of the show, Jake Fischer. I thought it'd be a Slater story or something like that. It just nothing to do with anything. I don't think anybody cares. But I was just like, random. Jake Fischer, like he's writing about how Dunleavy told him. I was like, it's good for him. Very cool. Secondly, I was a little bit surprised because I don't think we really were told that. Now, part of this is probably it wasn't really that reported on. But like, yeah, the story made it seem like Mike Dunleavy was the guy behind the scenes, like saying, let's do this thing, right? It wasn't Draymond, wasn't Steph, wasn't Joe Lacob. I think if Joe Lacob was doing it, I think he'd tell us. Would be the first to tell us if Joe Lacob was the one that was asking for it, right? So,
if they go on a playoff run, Joe will be taking credit on a pod.
I'm sure.
I'll tell you that.
As he should. He's the one that signed the check for 120, right? So no, I maybe this is one of those interesting, I think, scenarios that a player, a GM that used to be a player, and he's not an agent. Dunleavy's not an agent, as far as I know. Used kind of his connections to really say not only like, hey, we'll get him here because you know it's good for his contract or it's good for this. No, Mike Dunleavy's thinking about it from the perspective of no, Jimmy Butler is actually we need him here because he's a great player, right? Not because of this other off the court stuff that I think really clouds the NBA nowadays. No, it's just get this guy. He's a dog. He's an alpha, as they keep saying. Get him in here. And I thought that this quote was maybe my favorite off the bat. Nobody could explain the intricacies of Jimmy Butler better than Mike Dunleavy. And it's kind of funny. I mean, you made a joke about it. In this article, it mentions that Jimmy likes to eat dessert first and eat his meal backwards. Like he is kind of an eccentric guy. Like I do get the skepticism about him because he's always kind of feuding with management. He's a little out there as a personality. Right. I just think it's telling Mike's like, spend time around him. Like that stuff's funny. I could see how it could rub you some weird ways, but it's in no way indicative of who he is in terms of as a teammate or a player, which is all that matters. Right. I think it really all that matters is the stuff on the court. Really, I think that's the biggest piece because the stuff you hear was always going to be like the contract stuff. Well, we'll take away the contract stuff. What happens? Yeah, how good is he? He's great. I love the story where they just talked about him growing up as a player or as a human, kind of like the way he became a basketball player, and then he was kind of reminiscent of like he's not a top 5 guy. Like he made his way into the NBA because of the work he put in. I think he's like big, long, like pretty athletic, but he's not. Nobody's mistaking him for this super athletic, like top 5.
I mean, he can't shoot the ball. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things that indicate he shouldn't be a star, right? Maybe an NBA rotation player, but not a star.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. You got it. Like there are things with Jimmy Butler that he has to be this eccentric. I think you said eccentric, so I'm gonna steal it. Like he has to be like that to be the way he is. He can't just be a normal guy and be a great basketball player. In order for him to tap into being a great basketball player, he's got all these things about him. And it's the same with Draymond. It's the same with Draymond. I honestly like kind of the same with Steph, where it's like, man, the only way Draymond is going to be this great, he's got to be an asshole. He's got to be a villain. That's how Draymond taps into being defensive player of the year, right? Like that's the only way. It's the only way, man.
It's a good point because like they're not physically gifted enough. Like I think we'd both agree Andrew Wiggins is more gifted than Draymond and Butler, just as like a raw athlete.
They'll tell you
like,
too. Yeah, they'll tell you.
The physical measurements, the athleticism, the natural shooting touch. Like Wiggins can shoot the ball much better than both those guys. Just like those things come easy to him. And that's why he was a number 1 pick, right? And that's why teams have been betting on him over his career, right? Whereas guys like Jimmy and Draymond, like it's the combination of willpower and IQ that get them over the top. Because like Draymond, I mean, dude, 6'6" center shouldn't work. It just shouldn't, like it shouldn't. And then to your point, like Jimmy, it's like, I don't know, can he use his left hand? Not really,
Yeah, can he? I've seen it.
Can he shoot randomly when it matters? He can, but like half the times you watch him, it looks like me, like line drive, like disgusting type of stuff, and all that stuff. Like, I mean, it's like obviously they have enough physical tools, right? Like I'm not pretending they're out here 5'6" or something, but like for NBA players, they're marginal. But it just comes down to like the dog factor, right? And like the mental anticipation. I thought the Bucks game was like
yep
the perfect example of like I don't think you really understand how smart these guys are. Like they're on like the short list of 5 smartest players in the league.
Okay, hold on. So mental anticipation. Let's go back to that because how do you? I always wonder like, what if you're a scout? How do you look for that? You gotta imagine like, and mental anticipation. Probably what is that? Probably like feel is probably the best way to put it. And I always think like, I feel like scouts, like baseball is probably the most prevalent, where people are always arguing like, my Giants, Buster I think is arguing for feel. He's arguing for scouts more than stats, sort of. I think is what he's going for. And I think in this situation, it is similar to like. Mike Dunleavy has done a good job of putting together, ever since he's taken over as lead GM, guys that have a great feel for the game, have great mental anticipation. He drafted Brandon Bajemski, who has he's super fucking smart. He knows
that's his strongest attribute too, because he's also not like a particularly physical specimen per se, so
he's not, and he's maximized and maximizing where he's going to be. And then Jimmy Butler, I think, is a guy for sure, right? Quentin Post, I think, is another guy. So, look, man, you can argue, I think, like how far is it going to go if you don't have the athleticism, and that's kind of my argument for pods. But then you watch Jimmy Butler, different story. Jimmy Butler 6'7", he's a big dude, so a little bit of a different story. But when you can put those things together, it's so hard to scout for that, Sam. It's so freaking hard, and maybe we haven't talked enough about Mike Dunleavy being really good so far in his tenure as GM for the Warriors. Really, really good picking this stuff up.
Yeah, and it's like it's to your point. Like the Warriors, there was this story about pods, but I think it applies to all these guys where they kept watching him and they're just like, man, he makes every play. And this was in college. And in college, they're like, yeah, he's probably a 2nd round pick. He's not big enough, not fast enough. Like, be realistic, like that sort of thing. And they kept watching him, and they're like, "Is he for like if he he's just outplaying all these dudes. He just consistently is, you know? And at the combine, he won combine MVP, which was him outplaying dudes who had better physical characteristics. And I bet other GMs would still be like, no, I like him, but I'm not taking him at 19. I gotta get a 6'7" guy. I gotta get a 6'10" guy.
Right.
That sort of thing, right?
Right.
And to your point on Dunleavy, maybe it's because he's a lifer. Maybe it's because he's played more basketball than all of us combined. Like between his dad being an NBA coach and everything in his whole life, it's just like trusting your instincts on that sort of stuff a little bit more.
So maybe that may be the difference between someone like Mike Dunleavy versus Bob Myers. And Bob Myers has made some great moves, great moves, right? We don't need to go through the list. The list speaks for itself. But when you talk about purely looking at drafting guys who know how to play basketball, yeah, you want a guy like Mike Dunleavy who has played it. Both, like you said, he comes from basketball. Like he's not. This is not a slander for Bob Myers, right? But Bob Myers is an agent. So when Bob Myers is looking, he's not the guy that picked Wiseman, right? He's not the guy that was like, hey, like he said, okay, he's down for it. There are other guys in that decision-making process too. But I look at it and I'm thinking to myself, when I look at what Mike Dunleavy likes, Mike Dunleavy probably never picks Wiseman. He probably never does, because he looks at him and he scouts him and he looks at him and he says, where's the feel, right? Where's the dog alpha mentality that, like Pods has the alpha mentality, which is funny. I don't know if it'll ever be there, but he has it. He freaking has it. And I think that's why Jimmy, you can tell Jimmy really likes Pods. Really likes him. Obviously he likes Draymond, but like he really likes Pods. And I think that's interesting. And it just, as the Warriors have shifted from, we had these 3 lottery picks. Now we don't have lottery picks, but then we draft a couple guys late that are pretty good. And then we trade for a guy that are really good. So I guess they're in good hands with old Mike.
That does seem like the thing, because the thing that's, Ron Adams says Jimmy likes teaching. And the thing that sticks out when you watch him is like, he really does kind of take Pod seems to just like follow him around. Like that I'm with you. That relationship seems like it's just there. They're wired the same way, they get along. They'll 100% get into a fight at some point, but it's okay. That happens, but like Quentin Post and Guy Santos, like they're gravitating towards him. Funny enough, like Buddy's not young, but Buddy also, like all these guys, he's kind of got that Andre Iguodala quality with it too. And it's like, it's difficult to really explain, because in theory it's like, well, shouldn't Steph and Draymond be doing that? And they do it to a degree, but it's like Draymond can't be everyone's big brother. You know what I mean? Like it can't be it can't just be they so needed a third voice to be someone else. So it was really like, these are the vets, everyone fall into line behind these 3 dudes. And then, he's got the personality for it in a way that, like, I don't want to make it this guy versus that guy thing, but like, Andre had the personality for it. Clay's more of like a lead by example guy. He's not a talker, right?
I think you hit it with the personality. It's the personality that's different. I think they needed that third person with a personality similar to Andre. I don't think Jimmy's like a nice guy, which is not to say it's a bad thing. I think he's kind of a dick, like Andre. He's kind of like, dude, we're going to do it this way. And if you're going to do it, I fuck with you. If not, like, we'll probably, and more often than not, Jimmy's probably right. Because look at his career. Yeah. Jimmy's probably right most of the time. I think to Draymond's point, I do think Draymond's probably lost some credibility over the years, right? And then I think Steph is actually the lead by example guy. He's the guy that, like, dude, Steph doesn't want to go in there and start like yelling at people. That's not what Steph's thing is. It's the last thing he wants to do. He doesn't want to tell anybody really do anything. Like he doesn't do it with the front office, didn't want to do it. So I think that's the key part of what you're saying. I haven't thought about the locker room effect that much. As we're talking through it, I'm like, yeah, that is actually probably a bigger part of what they needed. Andrew Wiggins he's not a locker room like leader type of guy. He probably never will be. And that's fine. That's not who he is. But that's who Jimmy is. And that's the part, man, now that I think about it, like, that's really actually what they needed outside of the on-court stuff too. But
didn't they need both? They need a leader on the court and in the locker room. They need that, because like, even with all the issues they had pre-trade, they were still winning the minutes Steph and Draymond were on the floor. It was just that when those guys go off the floor, they had it was just bleed the ship away, right? So now you got Jimmy doing that. But yeah, to your point, also like, just someone in the locker room who could be a veteran. What did Steve Kerr say? He's an alpha among alphas. Made me laugh.
That's the best.
So many alphas. Was it? Remember when he's on the Bulls and it was him and Dwayne Wade and
three alphas.
Three alphas. These are the new three alphas here.
Leads to winning. It's a swagger, even amongst all the alphas in the NBA. I think Jimmy is an alpha among alphas. I really do. And I think Steph and Draymond needed that. They needed somebody like him because they were in some ways, not feeling like they had enough of that next to them, like we've had in the past. We've been spoiled, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's just palatable. It's super. You feel it when you watch it. It's like, just a new guy who comes in there with like, I'm the man energy, and everyone falls into line. Moses Moody looks fucking phenomenal. Pods looks amazing. You keep going down the line. Like, everyone looks better since they've had this inserted. It's I wanted to ask you this. Is this for real? Like, was Jimmy just misunderstood and this is the perfect spot for him? Or are we just the next sucker in a honeymoon? And we're going to break up the same way the last four guys did.
Just thinking about what you said. I think it's both. Why can't it be both? I think in every situation Jimmy's been in, it's made sense why they've broken up, and it's because of who he is. Let's be clear. I don't think you and I think he's changed. I don't think we're sitting there saying he's coming to Golden State, he's coming to the Bay, dude. He's just a different guy. But no, he's the exact same guy. He just got $60 million added to his bank account, guaranteed. So now he's just a happier version of that same guy. And that same guy is a perfect fit with the Warriors. And so the honeymoon will last until he doesn't feel like he's gotten what he needs, right? And he becomes that guy that we saw in Miami, which is to say, after next season, Sam, does he ask for another extension? The Warriors don't give it to him. Are we having the same conversation? I don't care. I don't care. Exactly. I don't care. Right? Because we're talking about, me and you are talking about right now. Right now, the Warriors are the 6th seed. They could be the 5 seed. They can make the NBA Western Conference Finals. They can make the finals. All I care about is right now. So yeah, that's, to me, it's like, I think he's both. The concerns are a year and a half away. I don't care about that stuff, Sam. It's right now. The Warriors are good right now. Right? It's what I care about. I feel like that's what they care about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get to it. Light Years Podcast. We are brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Today's Thursday. We're recording this Thursday. Today's March Madness. My team, Sam, the UCSD Tritons are in the tournament this year. So here's what you got to do. Run your game all season long. Prize Picks. Prize Picks, best place to get real money sports action. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000x your cash. I've got Tyler McGee over on the 23.5 fantasy score. It's a star player, I think. And then whatever. I just picked a random name from Michigan, whoever they're playing. Danny Wolf. Let's go under on the 13.5 points. It feels good to have my alma mater play. I think for the first time when I was there in 2013, they weren't even a D1 school. So you could do the UCSD game. There's a million games today, tomorrow, this weekend. Get in at Prize Picks. Download the app today. Use code LightYears. Get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. It's very easy. $50 instantly when you play your first $5. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Guys, you know what's up. This summer, time to enjoy a nice, cool beverage. I'm very excited about our sponsor, Surfside. Only 100 calories in a can, 2 grams of sugar. This belly needs it, particularly with the amount of Persian food I'm going to eat tonight. I need something light. I need something that gives me, takes the edge off, but doesn't add another 5,000 calories to my already huge bloated stomach. And you know what else is great about them? Zero bubbles. Zero bubbles, goes down smoothly. That's right. Zero carbonation. So easy to sip and enjoy. Guys headed to the game or pre-gaming at a friend's house, bring an iced tea or a lemonade variety pack from Surfside and try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Must be 21 to drink. Please drink responsibly.
I'm crushing Surfsides tonight. I just can't wait. 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar.
When you see Brandon Ingram in street clothes on the sideline, you got to. Dude, their schedule is such a joke right now, by the way. That part of the reason I felt okay about not doing a post game tonight is like, bro, they're not losing to Toronto. And if they do, I don't want to do it. So
well,
like
and they're not losing after they did the same bullshit against the Nuggets. They're gonna win by 20 because they're like, all right, we can't, do what we did against Denver. But yeah.
Yeah, they threw away a game they shouldn't have thrown away. It's gonna happen over the course of a season. I kind of agree with you. If you look at their schedule in March, I mean, they shouldn't lose another game this month. I'm just gonna. I talked about this with Tommy, but I'm just bringing it up real quick. Toronto, Atlanta, Miami, New Orleans, San Antonio, like 5-0 should be 5-0, 4-1 at worst. Like then it gets tougher. Then you start playing real ones, but like the next 10, 11 days, like you should get to 44, 45 wins.
No, that's 5 wins, Sam. They got to win all 5. I don't see any back-to-backs.
Nope.
I don't see
Thursday. Okay, road in Atlanta, first road game could be, you could shoot shitty. That's true. Those type of things. But like it's kind of nicely spaced out to your point. Like they're not really they've got to win all 5. I mean, considering the way they're playing, I expect them to win all 5. This is not they're 500. What happens? Maybe they can steal and go 5-1, 5-0. It's like, no, Toronto's trying to lose. Atlanta, they're not very good. Miami's a joke. I don't think Wiggins played a game yet somehow. New Orleans beat Minnesota, but I mean, come on, what are we doing there? And then San Antonio's bench there. They're tanking. They sat Fox down for the end of the year, right? So it is good time to go to state. It's good time. They should build buffer in that stretch, and then they got to get into the Grizz, the Lakers, the Rock, games that will really matter seeding wise. So we'll get to it. I got a question for you. Look, they've only played 18 games with Jimmy. 15-3 though. The vibes are immaculate. How do you feel about this team versus the 2022 team or the 2015 team? Obviously, it's only 18 games, and both those teams won titles, so you can't say they're better. But just walk me through how you're feeling about that. Do you think this team has the same upside as 2022?
So definitely not the same upside as 2015. And I think but I do think from a play style perspective, they're a little bit closer to 2015 than they are to 2022. And I'll kind of tell you why. I'm thinking of just 2022 from a playoff perspective. And it's because 2022 felt like the way that they won those games was because they had a great defense and Jordan Poole carried them a lot. And this team doesn't have a Jordan Poole. It doesn't. Honestly, this team needs a Jordan Poole, to in my opinion, to put them over the hump. Like if they had Jordan Poole, if you put Poole next to Paz and Jimmy, and Moody and whoever, Santos or something, that's a sweet bench. But back to the point, I think they're closer to 2015 in terms of when Steph is off the court, things are going to get ugly. We saw it against Milwaukee, right? Things get ugly. Things get nasty when Steph is off the court not playing, and it's similar to those Andre Iguodala minutes with Zaza, with Bogut, with Maurice Spates back then, with David West back then, or just Livingston, where it's we're going to beat you 8-4 in those 6 minutes that we're playing without Steph. So in my opinion, it reminds me of that, but it also doesn't have the upside of 2015 because Clay isn't here, right? So I actually think it's a little bit different, dude. I actually think they're different from they take from both teams, but they're different in terms of I don't think we've seen a Warriors team, which is why I'm so excited for the playoffs. I don't think we've seen a Warriors team that has this clear of a Steph and Jimmy, because it's always been it's Steph and Clay. We got a little bit. It's mostly Steph. It's a little bit of Clay, and then when KD was here, it's Steph, Clay, and KD. Now it's those three guys are unstoppable. And then it was Steph, Poole, but a lot of Steph. This time it's you can kind of see it where it's I think the more we see this team, what I'm trying to say is the more we see this team, the more we see Jimmy start to have more of control in the offense. I don't think we've seen that in a while. Definitely not in those 2022 and 2015.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
They don't play like a traditional team, but the pecking order of Steph and Jimmy feels more like a traditional team around that you see around the NBA.
Yes.
Where it's the two lead dogs and everyone fall into line off of them, kind of.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. It's tough because they won in 2022. And I think 2022 did have more proven rotation players because Poole was really the only unproven guy. Wiggins to a degree, but he was also a 7-year in the NBA. He just hadn't put it together in a big stage yet. Is that, you know what I'm saying? But Poole was really This team is counting on 3 or 4 pools, and not skill set wise, but like Pods is in year 2, Pools in year 3, Moody's in year 4, Kuminga's in year 4, Quimpo's in year 1. Like guys on rookie deals, the way Poole was. This team is asking a lot more of those young guys, but at the same time, they got like an undisputed alpha. I'm an all-star if I'm healthy, co-star for Steph. And 2022 didn't have that.
Yep.
Nobody on 2022 is a real all-star. Wiggins made the all-star game. He's not an all-star. Clay, he's never been an all-star since post-injury, and he shouldn't be. He's just not that guy anymore. And then Poole, it was his breakout season, but he's not an all-star. This team, you got two top 20 guys, basically, right? The 2022 team had one, best player in the league, in my opinion, Steph, and then a bunch of really good players who fit together well. It's a little different.
Do you think, let me ask you this, if let's take you back to 2019, let's say Clay is out, but KD's healthy, do they win the championship?
In 2019?
Yeah. In 2019, KD's healthy. He comes back game 1 against. Yeah, I mean the answer is yes. That's a dumb question, but it kind of feels
I think they win if Clay doesn't get hurt.
If Clay, yeah. Why did I bring it up?
Yes,
the point is 2 alphas. That's the point. Is 2 alphas, and KD's more alpha than Jimmy in terms of like KD's a better player. We've seen the proof of concept. You have KD and Steph. You're not losing a fucking game. You're not. It's not happening. But I think that's the point.
Unfair.
Where it's like
dudes just whining on the internet that it's unfair.
3 straight years. Just 3 straight years. Honestly, we might get it again if the Warriors. I mean, it is amazing.
LeBron gets gifted like 50 of the top 75, but he never has enough help. But whatever.
If
Luka randomly gets thrown on my team. How did that happen? Oh, whatever.
I don't think enough talk. It's like LeBron. I don't understand how you end your career with 4 titles if you have this many players that you've played with next to you, and it's just a rotating cast of all NBA, Hall of Fame players. And
isn't it funny how they always end up? They're always top 5 when they team up with him, and then afterwards I was like, oh, they're good, but they're not that good. Like AD, kind of his reputation in the mud.
Kevin Love,
Dwayne Wade, Kevin Love, dude. Kevin Love was averaging. He had a 30-30 game.
He was Joker before Joker. I mean, like not as good as Joker, but like similar. Like, you know what I mean? He went to play with LeBron, and he's freaking standing in the corner. Yeah. Can you imagine Steph with
Dario Saric, baby?
Yeah.
Dude, I wanted him. I wanted Kevin Love on the team because it was like, this guy's such a good passer. You big who can pass and shoot with Steph makes all the sense in the world. Now I'm glad they didn't do it in retrospect, but like, just like watching what he was doing in Minnesota, it was such an obvious fit, at least offensively. So, these things.
I think there's a chance, because I didn't answer your question because I'm dodging. I think there's a chance they're better than 2022 though. I think there's a chance. I think there's a chance. Now, is it next year? Because we're gonna wait for because we need an off. Do they need an off season? Does Moody and Pods and some of the young guys need an off season? Because you pointed this out earlier, like got a lot of young guys. Yeah, young guys. They might need time to develop into those players. Or is Steph and Jimmy just that good where they can drag them and like we saw against Milwaukee, Pods hits a couple threes and that's all they need. That's all they need to win these games. Maybe that's
what they need. They need Otto Porter. They need 28-year-old Otto Porter. Do you know he was only 28, by the way? Because like the way his body was held together,
that makes no sense.
He's like 35. I mean, him and Looney's still 29. So like, you know what I mean? Like, if I was to poke one hole at this team that would make me think 2022 is better, it's that third front court guy. Because Looney's going to do Looney things. Draymond's Draymond. You need a third big who's, small ball big who can shoot the ball. Like Harrison Barnes did it. Yep. Then they got KD. Like it's unfair. This thing. Then Otto Porter, he did it. He gave you that floor spacing, high IQ defense, just enough. His body barely held up. This Warriors team is counting on Quentin Post, who's a rookie, or Jonathan Kuminga, who like he doesn't shoot the ball well. So even if his play gets better and he fits in, it's like it doesn't solve the floor spacing issue. And he's still such a young, like unproven player in some ways on this that you're like, that one position to me is the swing position, because I actually think I like the Warriors perimeter better than I like the 2022 perimeter. And Draymond's, I like Draymond. I think Draymond can play just. Honestly, I think he's playing better because in 2022
he might be better. Yeah, he might be better right now than
he was kind of banged up during that
because
run.
of the injury. So. I was watching the Pelicans and Wolves last night. I normally would not watch the Pelicans, but the Warriors need the Wolves to lose, and they did. So I watched it. Bruce Brown, by the way, looks awesome. But I was watching Kelly Olynyk, and I was like, man, I'm not as good as Otto Porter in 2022, probably, but Olynyk would be a good fit for this Warriors team to soak up 18 minutes in that third front.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there.
I mean, who'd be really nice for them is because this feels realistic now because their team just does dumb shit. PJ Washington.
Well, that's not happening. I don't think Steph is.
I didn't think you'd trade Luka Doncic, so nothing's off the table anymore with Dallas. Well, I mean, the thing with Dallas is I feel like you can call them and just be like, pods in a second for AD. You down?
Oh, I was going to say for PJ. I was going to say, no, absolutely not. But
no. I mean, it's just like they're. I don't know if anything's off the table. I think you can now spam them. You can be that guy in your fantasy league who just sends disgusting trade offers. They might accept it. It.
Did you? And you know who I picked up? I got the fantasy basketball semis next week. I'm on bye this week, and I picked up a guy called Quentin Grimes. Warriors fans know Quentin Grimes, and I was like, it flew under the radar. Nico Harrison traded Quentin Grimes. I'm not saying it's just as bad as Luka, but God,
it's not.
Damn,
it's still dumb.
God, damn. For Caleb Martin. Oh my God, Sam. Just nothing to do with the
all
Warriors.
I'm saying is Dunleavy, just keep texting him. He's gonna accidentally say yes to the wrong trade.
Derek Lively.
Yeah,
what's going on, Derek Lively? What's going on?
Hey, he doesn't guard the post as well as Looney. Willing to do it. I might even give you a second. Maybe he says yes. These are, you don't know that it's off the table. You might as well it worked for the Lakers. Pelinka just sending him BS and he accepted it. So.
I feel bad for Mavs fans. I
feel horrendous for them, but they can go watch the Texas Rangers or
Texas Rangers.
I'm not an asshole. I wasn't gonna say the Cowboys. So.
They did win the World Series actually. Bruce Bochy's the manager, so there you go.
I think they'll be good again this year. I think Bochy's gonna do his every other year shit with them.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah, Boch. All right, Let Yours podcast. We are brought to you by Via. Remember when you can function on 4 hours of sleep? Those days are gone, baby. Don't worry, Via's got something to help you sleep like a log. 500,000 happy customers cannot be wrong. Via changing the game in natural wellness, combining high-quality hemp-derived ingredients with powerful cannabinoids to create real effect-driven results. Want better sleep, more focus, little boost in the bedroom. Maybe you just want to chill out because your stress levels are currently at screaming into the void status. Whatever you need, Via has a solution for you. But here's the best part. Via lets you customize your experience. So whether you're looking for daily wellness, serenity, laser focus, or deep relaxation, Via has it. Their products range from 0 to 100 mg of THC. So these guys have you covered, whether you're looking to microdose or enjoy more potent effects. If you're 21 plus, check out the link to Via in our description. Use the code LIGHTYEARS. Very easy. Code LIGHTYEARS. Receive 15% off, free shipping on orders over $100. And if you're new to Via, get a free gift of your choice. Wow. So you get 15% off and free shipping on orders over $100 and a free gift. After you purchase, they ask you where you heard about them. Support our show. Tell them we sent you. Enhance your everyday with Via.
Yeah, man. Busy time of year for me. And you know what it's like when you get busy. The number one issue with when you get busy is you start eating like crap because you don't have time to cook. Then you start eating like crap. You start gaining weight. You start feeling bad about yourself. And so that's why I really love Factor, guys. Factor, they're dietitian approved, ready to heat and eat within 2 minutes. So you can fuel right and feel great. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared. Perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with Factor Keto Meals. These things are delicious and very healthy. Based on randomized controls, clinical trials with Factor Keto, results will vary depending on diet and exercise. Guys, reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust and convenience you cannot beat. Eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use the code FACTORPODCAST to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code FACTORPODCAST at factormeals.com/factorpodcast. Lastly, guys, got to talk about our friends at Body Spec. You guys know the deal. You want to take control of your life, get in shape, do fitness like the pros, go ahead and get a DEXA scan. DEXA scan is a highly accurate method of measuring your body's composition, find out your lean muscle mass, your body fat percentage, visceral fat around your organs, and really start your fitness journey. DEXA scans traditionally cost $200-$300 and were not very accessible. Body Spec has made them accessible for all. Use the code LIGHTYEARS45. You get a DEXA scan for $45. Locations in San Francisco and Los Angeles, and mobile vans that will come to you. Literally, they'll come out to you, they'll scan you, send you your results, start your fitness journey with Body Spec. All right, Andy, I got a question for you, brother. What is the biggest reason you believe in this team for a deep playoff run?
So we talked earlier about this team being more traditional in terms of, hey, there's two guys, two big alphas, which is normal to, I think, NBA structure versus, I think, how the Warriors have run it for years. Yeah. Let me rephrase. Two scoring, playmaking alphas. I think that's the biggest reason. I think the Warriors have, and I don't think it's noticeable because they still got Steph and Draymond. So a lot of the times, most things are going to come back down to Steph and Draymond. I don't think we realize, or we're starting to realize, that they're changing the way they building their team around Steph, Jimmy, who's essentially 1B, everybody else fits in, and Mike Dunleavy go pick the right role players. Versus before, it felt like they've had a lot of high-level role players, right? Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Otto Porter. Those are really high-level.
Andre Iguodala.
Andre Iguodala, when he was healthy that season. You know, I will always say this. He was awesome in 2020. He just couldn't stay healthy. So they have awesome high-level role players to support Steph. Now it's very much a Steph, Jimmy, top 5 players in the playoffs, and then everybody else. Draymond, obviously great on defense, but everybody else, like, all right, Potts, just hit a shot. Go defend and just hit a shot. Moses Moody, you just got to hit an open look, man. Can you make 3 threes tonight, right? Rest of the team, same thing for everyone else. Quentin Post, do your little no dip. Can you not foul out, right, in 8 minutes? Like, it's risky,
yeah,
but it is. And I think to answer your question, that's, I think, what makes me, because it's so hard to get high-level role players and have a lot of them. And the Warriors they just don't have that. And so they fixed their team and said, hey, here's 2 guys that, outside of LeBron and Luka, is there any other team in the NBA that has a better I'm not saying LeBron and Luka's better, but I'm saying like those, like LeBron and Luka, Steph and Jimmy. Yeah. Steph and Jimmy, like those are two duels that nobody else in the NBA has better.
I mean, Draymond's a high-level role player, to your point, but they've gone more traditional. Like, we got our 2 dudes who we build everything around. We can afford one of those high-level role players, and then we have to make it work with young guys, with cheap guys. Yeah,
figure it out.
I think that's all true. I think the other reason I keep coming back to is I just don't really believe in any team in the NBA. Like, it's a league of parity. The best team to me is still the Celtics. But if the Warriors play the Celtics, the Warriors will have the best player. Like, Tatum's awesome. Sorry.
I'd have the best 2 players.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. And I'm not saying the Warriors will get there. Like, to me, you know, we'll see if they have the legs to get through the playoffs. But, like, OKC, as phenomenal as they are, can't really shoot it. They're really young. What's going to happen if they drop a home game to the Warriors? What's going to happen if they're staring at Steph and Draymond and Jimmy and it's 2-2? Are they ready? Because if they win that, I might pick them to go all the way, because that's the kind of growth you need to see. But I haven't seen it yet, and I'm just not buying. I don't think I think Shea is probably good enough, but I'm not buying the rest of the rosters ready for that type of a moment, and they don't have enough vets. And then going through the West, like Jokic is Jokic. Denver's fine, but like they're not as good as they were 2 years ago. They lost KCP, who's, to your point, like one of those high-level role players. They look a shell of themselves in some ways, right? Just going down the list, it feels like a league of good. And why can't the Warriors? They have championships. They have the guys who we know, if they're inspired and they have belief, they can win in those moments. So why can't they?
Well, I mean, the inspiration right now is showing, because they haven't lost more than 2 games with Jimmy in the lineup. And they're going to win. They're going to roll out at least another 2, 3, 4, 5 more, right, in the next week or so. So the league of parity stuff, thank you, Adam Silver. I think it definitely helps the Warriors in this case.
It's also part of the reason they're unable to recreate like 15 with like all the perfect role players,
Right.
So
I will say, the Thunder and Cavs have the 2 best records in the NBA, and they're interesting only because I think we talk about the Thunder, I think, ad nauseum. They're interesting though because they're winning these games. I'm watching Jalen Williams, not the good one, the other one, like drop a triple-double, and I'm kind of like,
I wouldn't mind that one on the Warriors, by the way.
You like him? He takes a lot of charges, good passer, glue guy.
Shoot it
a lot of those guys. Yeah,
can shoot it a little bit. Like, I'll tell you, would he not be a good big to put next to Draymond?
I mean, anybody's a good big. The Warriors could need him, but yes, Jalen Williams, absolutely. Thunder a great draft. I mean, like, can Mike Dunleavy be half the drafter that Sam Presti is? But I think to the point of it is like, okay, that looks great in the regular season, but is Jalen Williams playing a single minute in a playoff game? That type of stuff. But I think the difference is kind of going back to it, the top of the high level stuff. Now, across a 7-game series, the Warriors might not have enough for the Thunder. They might not have enough juice. But if they get to a single elimination game 7, how can you not pick Steph and Jimmy in a single elimination game? And if the Lakers play the Thunder, same thing. If it goes to a single elimination game 7, how do you not pick LeBron and Luka in OKC? If the Thunder win, if the Celtics win, or if the Cavs win, I think those are the 3 best teams. They have to win, they have to win in 6. Like, they just have to be the better team. You're just like, okay, they're going to make a bunch of threes. They're going to run by you. They're the better team. You're going
to be like, I don't have firepower to play with them. It's just too much. Like, they've made 23s at halftime. I can't even get 20 up type of thing.
And I think that's probably that's the way that they would win. It would surprise me. I guess I'm just trying to say, it would surprise me if it's a really close series every single game, and the Thunder just eke out winning plays more often than the Warriors. Like, I can't see that. It would have to be like the Thunder in 2016 when they went up 3-1, and you're just saying, I think Serge Ibaka is just too athletic. I think Steven Adams too big. I think Russ is too fast, type of thing, right? And then obviously the Warriors flip the script on them, but it had to be something like that.
Where you're just like, I can't hang with. They just have too many weapons. Yep. And like, to your point, Cleveland and Boston might do that. Like, I would not shock me if you just get up against them and just like, fuck, dude. All 5 of these guys can hit 8 threes in a game.
Yep.
What am I supposed to do with it? It's not unrealistic, but for me, I just tend to think playoff basketball will eventually devolve to a rock fight. And if it's a rock fight, I kind of like this team. Last one for you is, what is your biggest concern for a deep playoff run?
The shooting is everybody has talked about this, but the shooting is a real problem. It's a real problem. It's Steph and it's playoff Jimmy, and then after that, I couldn't tell you. Moody and Pods are good shooters. Pods shots coming around, but I can't. They're missing a Clay, obviously.
Sure. Cam Johnson would be nice on this team.
He'd
be better than PJ Washington. Both
Kelly Olynyk would be nice.
Yeah.
PJ might be a better fit than Cam. I'm gonna be real with you. PJ is really good, but either of those.
Cam's, I'll say. But my point is that so both those guys point to what my biggest fear is, and it's not the shoot. Well, obviously shooting's on the list. It's that third front court guy, ideally one who's taller than Draymond. It's just they don't have Otto Porter. They don't have Harrison Barnes. They don't have Kevin Durant. They don't have Andrew Bogut. They don't have Looney's going to do what he does. It's really hard to play Looney with Jimmy and Draymond at the same time. Like, it just is, right? But he's going to give you 15 minutes, and they're going to be he's going to rebound the ball well. He's going to do some things well. You can count on him to do his job in the playoffs. After that, I don't know, man. Is like the Quentin Post show really going to go on in the playoffs? Like I hope it does. He fits what they need, which is a big who plays his ass off and can hit open shots. But that's a lot to ask of a rookie, even an older rookie. It's just a lot to ask of him. And then like Kuminga, in theory, should be that Harrison Barnes piece where he defends, he rebounds, and he could stick enough shots. But it just hasn't happened. He's better at slashing than Harrison Barnes ever was. He's a better athlete than Harrison Barnes ever was, but he's not hitting the shots. What I'm saying is there might be in a scenario where their best lineup is Draymond, Moses Moody, Jimmy Butler, Pods, and Steph. And nobody loves the Draymond at center small ball more than me, but like, dude, that's micro ball. That's like really, really small.
Well,
and it's working. It's working, but it's just like, I just wish they pulled the trigger on when they traded for Jimmy, getting to your point, the Olynyk, or in my dream would be Cam or PJ Washington because they're under 30 and it'd be nice. But like that, that big 6'9", Otto Porter type, sticks open shots but can defend. Because to me, if they had that guy, I'd be like, dude, they're winning it all unless everyone's hamstrings and knees fall apart.
Yeah, I just wait till Moody subbed out for GP2, by the way. Talk about micro ball. But I can see it happening. I can see it happening. I'm just telling you right now. Those are the best 6 players. So some variation of that
Looney
be closing all these.
Oh God.
Yeah.
When Steve throws out a Steph, GP2, Jimmy, Draymond, Looney lineup,
he's a sick fuck.
No shooting whatsoever.
Steph, save us.
He's just playing on playoff Jimmy hitting 6 threes, huh? Steph could get mugged at half court in that lineup.
I think Steph likes those lineups. I gotta be honest. Like these type of words,
they do everything else perfectly. Like defensively, that's a dream lineup, right? Every one of those guys is a dog. Any loose ball, and there'll be a lot of loose balls because they'll miss a lot of shots. They get to, you know what I'm saying? Like what you love about GP2 is like he can defend and he gets every loose ball and he knows how to cut and like do a bunch of little things. So I don't know. They're definitely going to stretch the limits of how little shooting they can put on the floor.
Yeah, they're in a good spot. I think they're in a good spot. I think the shooting will come back to bite them a little bit, but I was watching highlights of 2022 and I watched Draymond throw a pass to Kevon Looney to clinch game 4 and on a 4-on-3. And I'm just like, maybe they'll get, with Steph, anything is possible. With Jimmy, feels like anything is possible. So I'm still optimistic. Maybe Guy Santos will stick a couple threes and maybe he'll close a couple games. Sam, he's pretty big, right? So, but
Guy Santos has us.
I do like Guy Santos. I really do. All right, man, this team's good.
Let's get out of here, man.
Happy New Year.